Greetings, dear friends in Christ, as we hear again from 1 Peter. Today, as chapter 3 begins, we read verses 1 through 12. So 1 Peter chapter 3, verses 1 through 12. Likewise, wives, be subject to your own husbands, so that even if some do not obey the word, they may be won without a word by the conduct of their wives, when they see your respectful and pure conduct. Do not let your adorning be external, the braiding of hair and the putting on of gold jewelry or clothing you wear, but let your adorning be the hidden person of the heart, with the imperishable beauty of a gentle and quiet spirit, which in God's sight is very precious. For this is how the holy women who hoped in God used to adorn themselves, by submitting to their own husbands, as Sarah obeyed Abraham, calling him Lord. And you are her children, if you do good and do not fear anything that is frightening. Likewise, husbands, live with your wives in an understanding way, showing honor to the woman as the weaker vessel, since they are heirs with you of the grace of life, so that your prayers may not be hindered. Finally, all of you have unity of mind, sympathy, brotherly love, a tender heart, and a humble mind. Do not repay evil for evil or reviling for reviling, but on the contrary, bless, for to this you were called, that you may obtain a blessing. For whoever desires to love life and see good days, let him keep his tongue from evil and his lips from speaking deceit. Let him turn away from evil and do good. Let him seek peace and pursue it. For the eyes of the Lord are on the righteous, and his ears are open to their prayer. But the face of the Lord is against those who do evil. Here in verses 10 through 12, we hear actually David, a psalm that he wrote while he was fleeing for his life from King Saul, who was pursuing him. And they're pretty instructive. Not just for husbands and wives, but for all of us. Even as Peter says, finally, all of you have a unity of mind, a sympathy, a brotherly love, a tender heart, and a humble mind. Right? We are called by God not to seek our own rights, not to fight for the thing that we like, rather to seek good, to turn away from evil, to seek peace and pursue it, whether that's at home or at church or in the world. Jesus referred to those peacemakers as those who follow him in Matthew chapter 5 when he talked through the Beatitudes, which are more of an instruction of who we are in Christ. In Christ, we are peacemakers. And this is what we're called to be. Not repaying evil for evil or reviling for reviling. I came across a neat article in light of this whole COVID-19 thing that talked about not letting the COVID virus divide your church. The focus of the article was really to say, as brothers and sisters in Christ, we don't all have to walk in lockstep when it comes to every issue. We can have a differing of opinion, and we can respect each other, and we can be humble and admit that sometimes we're wrong, just as sometimes we think the other side of a disagreement is wrong. But together we can seek peace and pursue it, which means sometimes sacrificing for the good of another. Certainly as husbands and wives do, sacrificing their own desire for the good of another. Husbands honoring their wives, wives honoring their husbands. All of us are called to this, to have a unity of mind. And that only comes from a shared and common faith in Christ. The tender heart that Peter speaks of is a compassion that we can feel toward other people because Christ has had compassion on us. A humble mind is not one that exalts itself in pride that they know what's right, but rather that is willing to give for the other. Luther here says, "Here you see what true brothers are. They cling together much more closely than any friends. We Christians should also do this, for we are all brothers through baptism. For after baptism, even my father and my mother are my brother and sister, for through faith I have the very same blessing and inheritance from Christ as they have." Finally, brothers, that's all of us that are in Christ. We have this to give to one another: tender hearts, humble minds, compassion. May those things guard and guide us as we move forward wisely and safely together as his church, and that the Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine on you and be gracious unto you. The Lord look upon you with favor, give you his peace. Amen.